Welcome back to Gamble Pavilion, where Jackson State's getting ready to tip off against UConn. Very first round game in this Regional 3 in Portland. As we take a look at today's starting lineups, brought to you by Capital One. And let's start with the Jackson 5. Tion Bowler and Maya Crump, both first-team all-SWAC performers. Angel Jackson is a great shot blocker. And there are the UConn Huskies. KK Arnold and Ashlynn Shade are true freshmen.
Well, you love to see the freshmen come to life for UConn, but for the Jackson 5, like you said, who's going to be Michael, who's going to be Tito?
Well, we know Gino would probably be the ultimate. How about happy 70th birthday to our man, Gino Auriemma. Today is indeed his birthday, and he has won over 1,200 games in his career, 11 national championships, but they've been dry since 2016.
Well, a phenomenal effort by them to get to where they have gotten today with all the injuries, a litany of them, 6 players out with injuries for UConn.
Just 8 scholarship players available. Jackson State in their away Reds. Shauna Luckett with the basketball. She is a hometown kid from Jackson, Mississippi.
UConn starts in man-to-man defense, and they're switching, but it didn't matter for Jackson State right there.
It's Maya Crump, a grad student from Houston, Texas.
Some 2-2-1 pressure here, containment pressure. 3-quarter court by Jackson State. And they're in a man-to-man defense here in the quarter court as well.
Edwards playing with the mask because she has a broken nose. This is her first game in 2 weeks. Bueckers somehow got around a couple of players to score.
Well, Paige Bueckers, she's so crafty with it. She attacked that second line of defense, which was a post player, but she got around her.
Aaliyah Edwards, not so fast with that drive.
Aaliyah Edwards, as we said, has missed the last 2 games with that broken nose, obviously wearing that protective covering. And that has been an injury that has plagued her for the last couple of seasons.
Right off the inbounds, Jackson State, we were here for practice yesterday, and they're not intimidated. There are a lot of them, they were looking around the building, soaking it all in, but not in all.
Not in all, and they're ready for this moment. And credit Coach Reed and her staff for mentally preparing them to be here, and not just be here, but be ready to execute.
Ran the table in the SWAC regular season and won the tournament. Bueckers does it again. Come on now, she got fouled as well.
We forget about how lanky and crafty Paige Bueckers is until she tries to get to the cup. She got touched on the shoulder and she said, oh, I've been in the weight room though. She swelled up to let you know that she's strong and she can get through the wickets and smooch it off the window for a deuce.
Bueckers off to a tremendous start. She has all 5 of UConn's points.
She has twice been named the Big East Player of the Year this year, named Scholar Athlete of the Year as well. So getting it done on and off the court is Paige Bueckers.
Inside, Jackson decided to pass it back out. 3 attempts, no good. Bueckers comes up with the rebound. She's averaging 5 boards per game. Nika Mule into Edwards. Good defense by Jackson, who induced a charge call.
Gino Auriemma on his birthday, not too pleased about that call. Aaliyah Edwards was walled up on the interior, so credit Jackson State with thwarting an opportunity on the interior for the Huskies.
This is anticipating a travel call. Instead, Edwards picks up her first foul. Tigers keep it alive.
See if they can get some screening action to free some avenues. KK Arnold leads UConn in steals. He's 78 on the season.
Bueckers comes up with another rebound. Mahoney with the defensive assignment on her. Now Bueckers is alone, and Jackson, who is a very good shot blocker, 4th in the nation in fact, blocked Edwards' shot and then had a couple words for her.
A couple of words, but you didn't really need to say anything because a picture says 1,000 words, and that was some prideful defense by Angel Jackson on the inside.
Dribbling right into trouble, and that's a travel. Mahoney with the turnover. These two teams, these two programs have never met before. There's the head coach that's done such a great job. Tamika Reed, now in her 6th year, has taken her team to 3 NCAA tournaments. And that's a nice driving finish for Arnold.
KK Arnold, only a freshman, but I tell you what, as soon as that calendar flips to January, I always just crown them sophomores. I mean, they have had so many extra minutes on the court because of the injuries.
Edwards fouled on the rebound attempt.
KK Arnold, she just does such a great job right here of surveying, finding where to attack. Paige Bueckers empties out to the weak side, takes her defender with her, and she gets all the way to the rim.
Arnold, Big East all-freshman performer this year. And the Big East championship again.
Something Gino Arima said. He said, you know, we're not coming in with 111 consecutive wins. We're not coming off of a national title. They can hate on somebody else right now. We're just going to come in here and continue to chop wood and do the work. And that is what has gotten them here with the short rotation of players. But they stay disciplined to the philosophy set forth by the staff.
Yeah, there's the bench right there.
I mean,
a lot of play. Never good when you see him in sweats.
No.
Avent into the game for Jackson State, and everything is going Paige Bueckers' way in this game.
Well, that last one brought this sold-out crowd to their feet. This is the first sold-out crowd here for the first round of games for UConn women's basketball since 2002. Paige Bueckers, and she is back and ready to compete, as we said. But look at the flick of the wrist. A nice friendly bounce, had enough spin on it to come on back and drop into the bag. You'd love to see it. Paige followed it though. Basics and fundamentals still in full effect. She wasn't sure if it was gonna fall. Shooters know where it's gonna go.
Front rim, top of the backboard, into the bottom of the net.
There you go.
That's gorgeous. Edwards finding Mule. Aaliyah Edwards with the assist. The post players. UConn up by 8 as we take our first break in stores. Let's check out who is fueling the run, brought to you by Wendy's. The UConn Huskies ranked number 2 in the preseason, but they stumbled early on against NC State, who at the time was unranked. They have lost every game, all 5 of them, to ranked teams. And you see 6 players out with injuries. AZ Fudd there on the right, but still they went undefeated in the Big East during the regular season and won the tournament championship. Lowest seed since 2005 at number 3. As we look at today's Need to Know, brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. And look at, I mean, that banner has a little, they're going to have to add another row soon. UConn Huskies, last loss in the first round way back in 1993 in Louisville when Rebecca Lobo was a sophomore. That was 2 years before they won their national championship. And when they win 50 straight here in the first round, they win big by over 30 points per game. And there's Rebecca's banner up in the Raptors, and UConn trying to get back. They were eliminated in the Sweet 16 last year by Ohio State, breaking an unbelievable string of success. And Aaliyah Edwards, she's projected to go very high in the WNBA draft, and she's showing some stuff right now.
Yeah, top 5 for sure for Aaliyah Edwards, who recently committed to the WNBA draft, which will be on April 15th, but definitely ready for it.
It is a 12-0 UConn run. Whistle before the basket. Let's look at Aaliyah Edwards.
My best basketball dreams as a post player are to get into the gap in the live floor and take it all the way to the rim in fast break manner. And you love that Aaliyah Edwards has that in her repertoire, to be able to attack that way and not have to rely on a guard to come and get it and give it back to her. She possesses the speed and agility to do it herself.
Really has shown improvement every single year. Missed that jump shot wide right. Edwards is from Kingston, Ontario, was part of the Canadian Olympic team back in what was really 2021, and is soon going to be playing in the WNBA.
I love to see it. She was third team All-American last year.
Jackson State has gone ice cold now. Missed their last 6 shots from the floor. Edwards this time around the other side.
Well, that time she went right into the body of Angel Jackson after getting her shot blocked on that first shot early in this game. At that time, took it straight to her. Got enough space to release it and finish.
Tigers have not scored in 4.5 minutes. Bueckers chases it down.
What Jackson State can't do is rely on the outside shooting. They're going to have to get some screening action and try to get some dribble drives to the rim.
Bueckers left it short. Second chance. Ashlynn Shade unable to get it in.
Another freshman for UConn. And she has been solid. Look at her getting the steals.
Shade was the Big East Freshman of the Year. Mule thought about it, but instead decided to give it up to Arnold. And then Arnold has her shot rejected by Bowler.
See if they can pay it off on the other end.
Nope. Here comes Mule. 2-on-1, gives it up. Shade with the finish and the foul. It is a 16-0 UConn run.
Well, UConn's defense has been paying dividends, getting into the passing lanes, gives them the ability to push tempo, drop dimes, and finish with contact.
The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Jackson State celebrating their championship along with UConn, both of them taking home tournament titles and earning automatic bids to this championship. And boy, the last few minutes have been all UConn. Jackson State looking for its first win ever in the NCAA tournament. UConn going for its 30th straight win in the first round. In its history, UConn has won 132 NCAA games. Jackson State 132 less. They're still looking for #1.
So that would be 0. Wow. But they have to have the opportunities, and they have to earn their opportunities out of the SWAC. They did that by winning the tournament this year, going 18-0, running the table in the SWAC this year. And Coach Reed, I mean, just listening to her story, I mean, she lost her mom, she lost her dad, lost her brother, and was really not really feeling coaching and lost her drive and motivation. But she said, these kids need me. She has an 11-year-old son who needs her. And you can see her continuing to pour in. And she said it's much more than wins and losses. It's about giving these young people an opportunity to learn and grow.
Ashlynn Shade completes the three-point play. Coach Reed in her 6th year now with the Tigers. So they were hoping for a little bit higher seed than the 14 they got. And here they are playing a long way from home in Stores. That's a travel. The last 13 possessions for Jackson State have resulted in 6 turnovers. And UConn already has scored 8 points off of Jackson State turnovers. There is the coach, and has done such a great job with this program.
She's also said that, you know, she characterizes her team as being tough Care Bears. She's like, they're aggressive and they'll fight you in terms of being aggressive competitors, but they'll hug you after games and practices. And it's a sisterhood for them, and you could feel that in their practices.
Yeah, it makes a big, big difference. She had to integrate a lot of grad students and transfers into it. Took them a little while to hit their stride, and they certainly did that with 26 wins. Ice Brady, number 25, is in the game now for UConn. Jackson State hit 2 of its first 3 shots, and since then, they're empty.
They're getting good looks. I thought that one was good. They got the ball reversed a couple of times, got it to the top. Clean look.
Shade off the rim. Now on the run. Jackson State's a team that can push pace.
And they want to, but they haven't been able to get the stops necessary to do that because of the way UConn is shooting the basketball. They're taking it out of the net.
The drive, and it's blocked by Brady.
Brady with the full-on denial You got to kick that out after you commit a defender like Brady to the ball.
Mule threw it in traffic, and that resulted in a turnover. Going right at Paige Bueckers, a lot of contact, and no foul has been called. The ball stays with the Tigers. The officials are discussing it. Joe Vasili, Tom Danaher, and Chastity Taylor are officials this afternoon. So we approach 2 minutes left in the first quarter.
See Jackson State about to run this 1-4 flat set. We saw them working on this in practice. They're going to rise that lane line player inside a little back screen in this.
Bueckers goes out. Aaliyah Edwards jumped off the bench. They wanted her subbed in as soon as Angel Jackson at 6'6", number 15 in red, came back in for Jackson State.
Let's see what Jackson State can organize here on the offensive end. They've got the ball reversals, but still relying on those outside shots. See if they can get into the paint, get a piece of it.
Had a couple of shots blocked. There's a whistle. With the shot attempt by Tyon Bowler, senior from Meridian, Mississippi.
Tyon was named to the SWAC All-Tournament team most recently for her efforts. Let's see her effort on that last possession is to get downhill and try to attack that paint.
Bueckers next to Chris Daly, who has been here all 39 years with Coach Auriemma. Tomorrow, the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship second round begins on ABC. North Carolina takes on South Carolina at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Then it's Middle Tennessee, the Louisville Killers, taking on LSU. And there you see the rest of the lineup coming up. All games available also on the app. Congratulations to Middle. Savannah Wheeler have herself a day, upsetting Louisville and upsetting a lot of people, especially one on ABC. We're not getting the LSU-Louisville game tomorrow.
Right. I know. How about that? And that's why it's called March Madness, right? Because you just have to expect the unexpected.
Mule, nope. Shade gives him a second chance. Brady, the lefty, pops in and out.
And here's the tempo. Get a board and initiate the offense.
That's a good look. Finally, the drought ends for Jackson State. They had gone over 7 minutes without a point.
Well, basketball is a rhythm game. And the rhythm for Jackson State all season has been get it and go. But they haven't been able to get the stops, but that time they were able to.
Mahoney got the shot, and UConn's getting some rolls today. Ashlynn Shade with the big smile.
Ashlynn Shade, a top 15 player coming out of high school last season. Just a tough-minded, competitive player for UConn and Gino Auriemma.
Second chance now for Jackson State.
Trying to get a little double drag action there and split it.
But you don't want to go right at Aaliyah Edwards.
Can't do that. And Jackson State's going to learn they've got to drive, get walled up, and find the next player.
Yeah, get a plan B.
Or C.
This plan A, as in Aaliyah Edwards, isn't going to work. That's a travel. So 11.5 seconds now for Jackson State to try to score.
This is what makes Ashlynn Shade so invaluable to UConn's success. She's able to come in and knock in some triples. The extra pass gets to her three-ball corner pocket, hits the rim about 5 times, but it doesn't matter, and she's smiling about it. And it still counts.
Jackson State this time does get to the rim. Jackson shot not in time. It's 22-8, UConn. After 1 quarter of play, Aaliyah Edwards off to a great start. This presentation of the NCAA Women's Championship on ABC will continue after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
Welcome back to Stores. Paige Bueckers has been phenomenal. To start this game here at home, smooching it off the window, knocking in a Plinko 3, hit everything but the bottom of the net to the very end. But Aaliyah Edwards has also been dominant on the defensive end, disallowing any touches, but also being a point forward and also getting into gaps and finishing in transition. She has done all things great for UConn.
He also has a couple of blocks as we look at today's Star Stories, brought to you by Honda, and it's the dynamic duo of Bueckers and Edwards.
Well, they just have such fantastic synergy with one another, great rhythm. UConn, they have forced 6 turnovers, and they've been able to score 9 points off of those, and that has been a huge difference, but also the paint points. UConn has 12 of their 22 points on the interior, and that is where they have been showing their dominance.
Brady is the only sub that Gino Auriemma has used so far in this game, whereas Jackson State has used 10 players already. Deeper bench for Coach Reed. Another jump shot. Here's Brady. This did not play last year. Shade this time can't get the friendly bounce. Mule hit the deck.
Mule trying to get up for that offensive rebound, just brushes it off. Gets ready for the next play. And when you have a short rotation, I know when we went to the Final Four, we had 8 players. So you just had to be disciplined mentally, right? And it's the right choices on both sides. You can't bulldoze your way into a defender, and on the defensive end, you can't go for the blocks. You got to be in great position.
Mule gets it out to Edwards. And a foul against UConn. We're going to see that depth question big time in our next game, as Arizona is going to take on Deasia Fair and Syracuse. Look out, because Arizona only has 7 players. They have 8, but only 7 play.
7 play. And that has been a paramount key for success for their journey, especially over the last couple of months. Dia Barnes, she has really gotten them to stay discipline-minded.
Paige Bueckers. Oh, that was a good defensive play by Crump. And
is that goaltending?
The UConn players are asking for goaltending, and they got it. Maya Crump going up.
Oh boy, look at this block, or attempt of a block, right up there at the rim area, and that shot was on the way down.
Well, it hit the backboard, so that was it. But you don't see that called a lot in women's basketball. Maya Crump listed at 6'2", showing her athleticism. Edwards cradles the Jackson miss. Hey, Aaliyah Edwards. Might have gotten hit in the face.
Just readjusted that mask, but wow, get your own touch.
There's a nice finish for Luckett. She scores for the first time this afternoon.
It's probably the easiest bucket she has had.
Edwards blocked again by Jackson.
Aaliyah Edwards, she doesn't need entry passes to get 2 hands on the basketball. Look at her just doing her work off the ball, flying in with the greatest of ease, and getting that tough bucket down in the trenches. And again, had to readjust that mask, missed the last 2 games with that broken nose. She's a toughie.
Bueckers off the inbound. Jackson from the outside hits the shot. Angel Jackson from Richmond, California, is a transfer from USC.
Yes.
They're good this year, Juju Watkins and company.
Yeah, how about the first time receiving a 1 seed since 1986 with Cheryl Miller and company.
Jackson coming over from USC, wanting to go to a smaller environment, a more intimate environment, and she has really enjoyed her time down in Jackson, Mississippi. Back-to-back SWAC Defensive Player of the Year. And there you see USC, one of the 4 top seeds, along with South Carolina. Iowa's coming up next after us here on ABC, and Texas getting that final #1. Jackson has a couple of back-to-back buckets.
We love to see her getting in a great rhythm already with 2 power-pack blocks on the defensive end, and now some nice feathery touch jumpers from the nail falling for her as well.
Jackson State getting in the passing lanes.
Angel Jackson has been extremely impactful. They have changed the course for this Jackson State squad, who has been anemic here in the first half in patches and stretches. But she has the cure for that in the last couple of possessions.
Mule inside to Bueckers, and they get perfect pass over to Edwards, who comes up limping a little bit after the basket.
Something to keep an eye on, but Jackson State, the last several possessions, they've gone to 2-3 zone.
Drive on the baseline. Ball bounces, recovered by the Tigers. Jackson can't get the follow to go, and then a foul on the Tigers.
Let's take a look and see what happened with Aaliyah Edwards on that last play. You see her right there in the pinch post on the drive, and just kind of seemed like she stepped on someone's foot down there and lost her footing. You see her little gimpy coming up after that one.
Last thing you want to see for the Huskies, but she's still in there, flexing that leg. And we've been told that Gina Oriema has gotten a warning for bench decorum for going a little bit too far outside of the coach's box.
On his birthday?
On his birthday. He'll give him a little present.
Come on, man. Yeah, rules are rules. We got it.
But that has been one of the points of emphasis in officiating this year. There's a foul on UConn.
But see, this is what I like, the intentionality on offense by Jackson State right now. They've been trying to get themselves into the painted area against UConn. And there's some drop coverage on the outside, kind of baiting them into taking those outside shots. But just because you're being baited into that shot or that action doesn't mean you have to go for it.
Foul on Shade sends Luckett to the line. For the fourth straight year, every NCAA Women's Championship game is on the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. And there you see the schedule, all games on the app as well. And it all culminates the first weekend in April in Cleveland, Ohio.
I'd love to see it. So many eyes on women's basketball and women's athletics in general. Everybody watches women's sports.
Mule decides not to challenge Jackson, who's an elite shot blocker. Bueckers is just a genius at creating space for herself.
Absolutely, and also she's a genius at body balance, right? She lets players fly by, and that's a tough shot because then you have to reposition your shot pocket and your legs.
Emphatic rebound.
Yeah, Edwards is wide open downstairs. KK Arnold just decided to bring it back out and take some time here.
This time Edwards returns the favor into Bueckers.
The connection of dots by Aaliyah Edwards has really been impressive to see. I mean, the point forward ability that she has displayed here in the first half on a couple of really great passes has really been fun.
Halfway through the second quarter, UConn doubling up Jackson State. It's a little bit of a push of an arm by Luckett, but nothing was called. Edwards goes in for another rebound while on her way to another double-double. She has 16 of them this year. That was first in the Big East. Mule. Bounce pass. Edwards waited for Jackson to go by, and then Jackson fouled her.
Well, it has been a dynamic duo on full display here in stores. Paige Bueckers hanging in the air for a tough bucket, and then Aaliyah Edwards getting her own touches on the offensive boards and putting it down.
Thank you very much. Come on, Drea. Drea could block, goaltend something, maybe like an 8-foot basket.
Hey, man,
something.
Nerf hoop. Drea, it's all love, though. She knows it.
Lee Edwards at the free throw line. Paige Bueckers and the rest of UConn. Yeah, they're winning this game 32-16. And she and Edwards have combined for a show they are putting on. Edwards playing her first game in 2 weeks, and Bueckers her first NCAA game in 2 years.
She is just hungry for this moment. You know, you could see it on her face all last season. You would see her on the bench in the sweats, like 6 of her teammates are right now, but just staying ready, working hard to get back.
Mule called for the foul on the jump shot attempt by Avon. There's 2 fouls on Mule.
Watch Nika Mule right here, just getting too close to the airborne shooter and drawing contact there, which is why she was whistled for the infraction.
And that was a 3-shot attempt. So here come 3 for Avon. Redshirt senior from Sacramento, California, who was ineligible at the beginning of the year. And you might recall that the waiver, the general amnesty back in December, a judge ruled, and that benefited Avon, who was able to come in and start playing. But she missed the first 6 games of the season, and Coach Reed said they really could have used her early on, especially in their non-conference schedule, which was daunting, to say the least.
Yeah, that was a gauntlet. And as we said at the beginning, it has prepared them for this moment. But Avon, she was on that SWAC tournament team and was also named MVP. So she has meant everything to them at the end of the season. So those beginning games, yes. But she has had some time to develop that continuity and cadence with her squad. There's a horn set against the zone.
Oh, Edwards was able to find a spot, and Shade found her.
And that's what Gino Ariema told us yesterday. He said we'll probably see a lot of zone, and we've got to pick our spots. Usually you think you have to shoot out a zone from the outside, but once you score on the inside, that makes you rethink the zone as well. This is what we're talking about, the intentionality on offense for UConn. They may be facing a zone, but they're not going to settle for outside shots. Aaliyah Edwards takes a dart cut from that elbow area right down to the strong side block. Somebody's got to rotate over to the rim line and meet her there.
Turnover gives it right back to Jackson State. Hunter. The attack going right at Edwards again, and another foul has been called on UConn.
Well, what Jackson State likes to do out of their 1-4 high set, where everyone is across that foul line extended area and 2 players right there at the elbow, they like to run an Iverson cut where they circle the outside guards around. So that time they rejected that action and took that backdoor cut. And that weak side defense wasn't available to be ready to contest.
Foul on Cadence Samuels. NCAA Men's Basketball Championship second round continues today on CBS, TBS, and TNT. For more information on tournament game times and networks, go to ncaa.com.
How about Yale? Just dialing it up.
That's awesome. And the SEC on the men's side. Oh,
hits.
Heavy hits for them early on in this tournament. Bueckers. Paige Bueckers just kind of floats out there more than runs, and she just got to the spot and nailed the bucket. She's got 17.
Her eyes are always working. She may look like she's stagnant physically, but mentally she is on a roll. And right here, 10 toes down, fingers to the floor with the flick of the wrist. Paige Bueckers, PB with the J on net from 3.
Paige Bueckers, 7 of 10 from the floor, pardon me, with her 17 points. Edwards with 12 points and 6 rebounds. 20-point advantage over the SWAC champions.
See, Jackson State sitting in that zone, and they go a 1-1-3 out of that, so they can give some pressure to the ball handler, and then they shift back to a traditional setup in their zone.
Bueckers to Edwards, kicking it out around the horn. Shade, Brady, shot clock at 5. And A.K. Arnold gave it up, and Gino Auriemma upset over there on the sidelines. Jamel Edwards had to get up and pacify him a little bit.
Well, that was a solid defensive possession. Coach Reed was up applauding it because they were there filling all the gaps that UConn was trying to attack. They blew up about 4 gaps in that possession, forcing a turnover.
And Jamel Elliott, who played for him over there, had to get up and tell Gino it's going to be okay. There she is. What a staff.
Yeah.
Jamel Elliott, Morgan Valley over there as well. Chris Daly, who's been there since the beginning. And Tanya Cardoza, welcome back to the Nutmeg State.
Yeah.
All those former players for Coach coming back.
And Tanya Cardoza was the head coach at Temple for years. Came back to the bench. Jamel Elliott was head coach at Cincinnati for years and came back.
Shade.
She has come up big. So many great freshmen just across the board, not just in this game, but across the board in women's basketball that have come game ready.
That's a beautiful finish for Bowler. First team all SWAC performer. Senior, another Mississippi native on this squad. Arnold from distance. And check that, that's Samuels, the freshman from Forestville, Maryland.
I'm gonna have my hair like that for
Yeah, I know.
the summer. I already told you I love her.
Bowler back to back.
Gino Auriemma was assistant coach at Virginia. And he recruited me, and he said that we possess kind of the same kinds of activity.
You and Q, you and Samuels.
Q, yeah.
Oh, look at Edwards showing that she's got some range in her shot, has developed that over the years.
But he also said she does about 2 of the 10 things you need done, so I didn't know if that was a compliment from Gino or not.
But he says 2 of the 10 things she does outstandingly
There you go.
well.
There you go.
But he has a tendency to say that. I'm sure no one's ever gotten a 10 out of 10 in his eyes. Bueckers probably is close. Edwards, Shade. Unselfish basketball by the Huskies as we have 30 seconds to go in the first half. And another drawn foul.
Well, UConn has put gas on the fire. Ashlynn Shade knocking in a triple. Paige moving the basketball right in the shot pocket for Samuels as she knocks in a triple. And then Edwards heels to the 3-point line. Long 2, but she'll take that. Put that in the bag as well.
Edwards, that's one thing she has not yet developed. She's taken 3 3-pointers this year and has yet to bury one, but takes an incredible skill set with her.
She has great hands, and that's what you love about Aaliyah Edwards, just her ability to move well off of the ball and be ready to just catch and shoot. And Paige Bueckers has been able to find her with consistency all season with that.
Breland 1 out of 2 on that trip to the line. So the shot clock is off now for Bueckers and UConn.
Getting a high ball screen here from Edwards. They're setting that up. Maybe a double drag action.
There's Edwards with the monster screen. And then a foul with just over 5 seconds left to go in the quarter. It's going to be on Jackson State.
Well, after that double drag action, they like to isolate Edwards down inside, and there was an entanglement down in there.
Foul was on Hickman, her first. Paige Bueckers goes to the line where she is 1 for 1 in this game. Bueckers a career high in scoring average this season, just over 21 points per game. And coming off the Big East tournament where she was the most outstanding player, where she averaged 28.
Last 6 games, averaging 27, and that's just a mark of consistency because you know she's going to be marked with the best defenders from opponents.
Jackson State at the buzzer gets the shot to fall. Tyann Bowler with some big buckets late in this quarter.
Well, give credit to Jackson State. They're not going away. They're going to stay courageous and knock in some dramatic buckets to head into the halftime locker.
Bowler with 13 of their points. Bueckers has 19. Let's go to the studio. L leading the way. Welcome back to the NCAA Women's Championship presented by Capital One. UConn Huskies leading Jackson State 49-28. This is a first-round game in the Regional 3 in Portland. As we take a look at today's most reliable team, brought to you by Xfinity, and it is Bueckers and Edwards getting it done.
Well, they have been just spectacular when it has come to impacting the game. 38 of UConn's 49 points they have scored and assisted on. They have been magnificent in terms of their consistency and their efficiency on both sides of the court for the Huskies.
33 points between them, outscoring Jackson State, the SWAC champions, who only have 28. Pam Ward, along with Christy Winters-Scott, and this basketball game sort of kind of going the way we expected to. We're seeing the stars show out for UConn.
Well, you've seen Jackson State try to mix up their defensive schemes. They started out man-to-man. They've switched to some zone. But UConn, they have found the answer every single time. They're moving the basketball. They're making the extra pass. But I think, Pam, most importantly, they've moved well off of the basketball. They have made themselves available for the extra passes. They've made themselves available for creases in Jackson State's defense, and they've been able to attack and finish.
Jackson State's an impressive play by Tyon Bowler. Pardon me, with 13 points, including a buzzer beater. And we had ourselves a goaltending call, too, in the first half.
We did.
Let's take a look. After this game on ESPN2, we'll be here for Syracuse and Arizona. That should be a very entertaining game. The Asia Fair and the Orange. Second-round winners will play Monday. Scores, and then the winner on Monday will travel all the way to Portland, Oregon in the Sweet 16.
And this environment is so exciting. Just to get things started here in stores. Another game coming for us as well this afternoon. Will be exciting against Arizona team taking on Syracuse.
Angel Jackson with the basket as we take a look at the lineups on the floor, brought to you by Capital One. And for UConn, they start a couple of true freshmen in Arnold and Shade. Nika Mule, who has said this is going to be her last season, has been a mainstay and one of the best point guards in the history of this program. We've already talked about Edwards and Bueckers and their importance. Okay, Arnold, one of the freshmen who start with the miss, but Shade gets him an extra 20 seconds.
And that's what we were just talking about, right? The extra pass, Paige made that to the corner. Even though the shot didn't fall, it was the proper play.
Shade left open, and Bueckers found her from all the way on the other side of the court.
And Paige Bueckers is like a duck on the water to me. It's like she's so poised, but she's always mentally working. Those feet are always working, those eyes are always surveying, and she makes the right choice for the team to score. Great lesson for young hoopers watching this game.
Bueckers this time with outstanding defense, and then Edwards got hit again in the face.
Listen, you don't think Paige Bueckers can score 40 a game? She could definitely do that, but she loves to facilitate and set the team up in great ways.
4 assists now for Bueckers.
And that's the unselfishness, and that's what separates her. She is so elite in terms of being a fantastic teammate and team player.
Mule coming up with the rebound. Bueckers, another zip of a pass. Back to Paige. Shade. Bueckers a couple of times passing up open shots.
Yeah. But that was the proper play. I'm applauding the extra pass because you love to see that. You don't see that a lot.
Inside, and the finish for Shade. Shade now with 14 points. Freshman from Noblesville, Indiana. UConn inducing a timeout. We are back in stores. Connecticut making a habit of getting into the tournament all the time. They have won 132 games. tops in Division I, 11 national championships, and an incredible string, 14 straight Final Fours, snapped last year when they lost in the Sweet 16. Last time they won a championship, there's Stewie with the trophy. It was 2016 when they had won 4 in a row. That's Carol Walters on the left, Morgan Tuck on the right. They know something about championships, and in opening games, they've just been dominant.
Oh, absolutely, and it has been phenomenal what UConn and Gino Auriemma have been able to accomplish here at UConn. He was talking about the leaky ceiling in the building they used to play in, and now it's come to sold-out buildings and continued sustained excellence over the decades.
They have a beautiful practice facility as well. He said they're very rarely in here. Bueckers takes a shot. Using that practice facility instead of coming into Gamble. Just with the 2 baskets, can get more done. They went over there for film study as well during their practice time yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, just the names that you think about. I mean, Diana Taurasi, Maya Moore. It just goes on, and they always come back to continue to pour into the current student athletes here as well.
17 seconds to shoot now for Jackson State. Jackson gets the friendly roll. Angel Jackson, the USC transfer, has 8 points and a couple of blocks. Leah Edwards working on Jackson, who got her 3rd block. No, call it a foul.
And Angel Jackson doesn't like that one with the wry smile. Neither does Coach Tamika Reed.
3rd foul on Jackson.
4-time SWAC Coach of the Year.
Coming up next. Don't touch that dial. That's what people used to say back when TVs had dials. It's Caitlin Clark and the rest of Iowa, the #1 seed, Regional 2 in Albany, taking on Holy Cross, who beat Presbyterian in the don't call it a play-in game, the first 4 game.
How about Lisa Bluter and the Iowa Hawkeyes and what they have been able to do? I mean, it started at Kinnick Field. I was there. 55,646 people filled the football stadium to start the season, and they've sold out 30 of their 32 games this year during the regular season.
Big Ten tournament sold out for the first time ever. They played in Minneapolis, which is not far, borders Iowa. And I love Iowans who say, oh, it's only like a 5-hour drive to the Twin Cities. And they'll do it. Nothing to it.
Make the trip.
Mule. Shade. A lot of shots over there on that baseline.
Yeah, it's the extra passes against that zone that have really been a gem for UConn. And this is how you can separate yourself against the zone. Move the basketball, set screens. You see Edwards with the screen right there. Nika Mule gets herself down into the paint. Now the defense has to sink in, and you can spray out passes like Shade, who can pay it off with the triple.
Well, Mule just picked up her 3rd personal foul. Luckett trying for the 3-point play. She's spent all 5 years at Jackson State, and Coach Reed really giving her a lot of props. The Jackson, Mississippi native who stayed home. Because she's been there for 5 years, has won a whole lot of championships.
Yes.
And that means that she's picked up a whole lot of hardware as well.
As she should. I mean, they've earned it. As you said, 51 consecutive home wins, 18-0 in SWAC competition this year, bringing home the tournament title and the 5th regular season title.
No other team has ever done that, won 5 in a row in the SWAC. Another for Shade in that spot, and this time she doesn't get the roll, got one earlier in the game. So Luckett, she's gonna have to buy like a special jewelry chest just for all this hardware.
Yeah. I mean, just spectacular, right? The things you never forget. In 10 years, you're gonna look back at those rings and remember what it took. Not necessarily that you won, but what it took to win.
Bueckers brilliant with the hesitation, and then couldn't get either shot to follow.
That one.
I was going to say Luckett with the 4 tournament championships, and she's won a regular season championship every year she's been with the Tigers. A convergence that time on Avent.
Avent did a good job there of attacking the paint. Doesn't have to be with the basketball in hand. Attack the paint with hard cuts. Force the defense to make decisions in there. That's what I love about this Jackson State team. They're relentless. They're continuing regardless of the score. It's not who they're playing, it's how they're playing, and they're playing with toughness.
Second foul on Aaliyah Edwards. For the 4th straight year, every NCAA Women's Championship game is on the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com. Your home for all 90 NCAA championships. First round heading into the second round, continuing through Monday. Then we have Sweet 16 and Elite 8s in Portland and Albany.
Sweet and elite. Ooh, nothing like that.
Final 4 in Cleveland, where it was back in 2007. Tennessee won. A little Candace Parker action. That's an offensive foul on Edwards. Her 3rd.
Ooh, let's take a look right here. Aaliyah Edwards trying to attack. You see the extension of that right arm.
Oh. The officials are going to take a look at it. This presentation
The
of the
offensive
NCAA
foul
Women's
by
Championship
UConn
on
is
ABC
under review.
continues after these messages. Welcome back to Stores. We had a foul on Aaliyah Edwards right before we took a timeout, and the officials have decided to upgrade it. Let's go over to Lisa Mattingly, who is our NCAA rules expert and analyst. Lisa.
Hey, Pam, I thought that's a great job by the crew there. It's an unnecessary act. It's the off arm, if you'll take note of it from that baseline angle. That off arm, not protecting the ball. It's not a basketball move. So intentional foul's the right call here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lisa. And Edwards picks up her 3rd foul, upgraded to an intentional for unnecessary and excessive contact.
Yes, that is the proper call, as Lisa Mattingly eloquently discussed with us. And yeah, just can't do that. It's tempting. You just can't do it. It's tempting.
Tempting? You've thrown one of those, maybe?
I mean,
Maybe back in the day before there was replay?
I didn't have anything else to throw, so my elbows, that's the best I could do.
The bowler went to the free throw line. Edwards, that intentional foul notwithstanding, having an excellent afternoon with 16 points and 8 rebounds.
Solid performance by her, a couple of assists as well to wow this home crowd.
Just under 5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Winner gets the winner of our second game between Arizona and Syracuse. 3-pointer, no. Basketball, the officials point Jackson State's way. Gino looks down at his feet.
He's making sure he was
back to his area.
Yeah, he's like, make sure I'm in the coach's box.
Because he got a warning earlier in the game. That's a nice move by Crump.
There's that same play. They like to rise the ball side and screen it, and then attack downhill. Nicely executed by Jackson State.
Crump, first team all-conference this year. One of their several grad students. Shade with the finish.
Shade has been fantastic. Really productive on both sides. She disrupted that play as well.
She's got 12 of her 21 points in this quarter. She's creeping up on her career high in scoring. Now an offensive foul and a moving screen. Nice. Brady picked it up. Fans getting a little grumpy here in Gampin Pavilion. Those are the fans. I mean, folks, it's nasty here. It's mid-30s, raining, miserable, and those fans, those students were out at what, 5 in the morning?
5 in the morning, intense and all of that. Race their way in the doors to get the best seat possible. And you love to see the continued support of this storied program.
And they're on their feet the entire game, not just in the lower bowl, but in the upper. Place is packed. That was a walk. Nice attempt by Bowler, but took the extra step.
Trying to get around that staunch defense in the paint that UConn is presenting.
Bueckers makes the cut, gets the ball, runs into a double team. Mule left open. Bowler, pardon me, that's Crump who came down with the rebound. And she goes coast to coast.
That was a pretty bucket right there. Nice and smooth finish to the rack. Floated her way in there. Nice transition here by Maya Crump. Just in and out up top to get to that second line of defense and stretch it out. Oh, nicely executed. She knew that she was going to run into a bigger body once she got past that primary defender, and it didn't matter.
Off the inbounds, Bueckers finds just a little bit of room.
That's all she needs. Just needs a sliver of light to attack along that baseline, and she's long and lanky as well.
Nobody there to box out Walker, who got the putback. Paige Bueckers right now with 21 points. And there's another travel. I think the Mule perplexed.
Gino Ariema not happy with that one.
Gino turning 70 today. He's been up on his feet all game long too, just like the students. This team up by 22 points. We got a lot more basketball coming your way this weekend. March Madness continues, specifically here. Really looking forward to this one. Syracuse and Arizona. Arizona beat Auburn in the first four. And we get to see DeAsia Fair, one of the most prolific scorers in the history of women's basketball. And right after us on ABC, we're going to take you to Iowa City, where there's some basketball going on. Iowa getting ready to take on Holy Cross, so you get to see Caitlin Clark's debut in the 2024 NCAA tournament. Caitlin, numero uno in scoring all time, and there you see Fair, and she's coming up on Jackie Stiles, who was such a great player at what was then called Southwest Missouri State.
How about all those buckets? That's going to be so much fun. I know you guys are going to stick around for those games this afternoon. The madness of it all.
That was a terrific pass from Crump into Bowler.
Love the aggression that Jackson State is continuing to push.
Nice Brady gets it into Bueckers. Something you consistently see with the University of Connecticut. Their post players are outstanding passers.
Outstanding passers. I mean, go back to Rebecca Lobo and winning that first championship here for Gino Ariema.
Stephanie Dolson just re-signed with the Mystics.
Yeah, back to DC with Big Mama Steph.
Great screener, terrific passer as well.
Look at the screens being set and just the discipline. A little motion, little chin action there with the screen at the elbow for Bueckers.
And then Bueckers felt that Jackson was fixing to block her shot, so she bounced it back out. And Shade clearly gets the bucket. And Ashlynn Shade now has a new, or has tied her career high.
She has been fantastic. Super active.
Jackson lost the dribble. Shade actually now with 23, and that is a new career high. She had 22 in a regular season game against Butler. Going for another one.
Well, that wasn't a bad shot because there was a cross match. And then Jackson didn't come out to her.
Even a fancy spin move. But then another foul has been called, and Joe Vasili, you could read his lips, said stop, because the UConn players are continuing to complain about the calls.
Let's take a look right here. Initially vertical, but then there was a break of the principle of verticality and a piece of the arm.
Second foul on Brady. He missed all of last season, coming out of high school in San Diego. Here's Avent at the line. Avent transferred from Texas Southern.
She's been a key piece for Coach Reed. This is the highest seed for Jackson State coming into the tournament.
Inside 45 seconds now left to go in the third quarter. Jackson State just being outscored by 1 point in this quarter.
The offensive boards, they've been attacking those, and I think that has been the difference maker to keep them close in this quarter, 8 to 9.
Three-pointer! Absolutely buried by Avent. She's their best three-point shooter and showed it.
She has the biggest heart right now, too. She's playing with some toughness.
Foul out on the perimeter.
Well, you have to stay aggressive, right? And shoot your shot. And this is what Avent does right here. You play under the screen. Bueckers a little late, rotating over to help. Wants the action right here. A little bit too late to contest it. Just a tough bucket.
Mule decided not to shoot. Now Brady back to Mule, puts it up, hits it. In the final second of the third quarter, Nika Mule, who sometimes is much more of a facilitator, certainly over her career, buried that one.
Nika Mule knew the clock, and she knew that ball was going to come right back up to her at the nail extended, and she nailed that one.
Now it's time for Get More, brought to you by Geico, and we have a lot more coming up for you on ABC. After this game is over, we'll head west to Iowa City. Caitlin Clark and Iowa in their debut in the 2024 NCAA tournament. Certainly the National Player of the Year last year. It's got to be it again this year. And even all the way here in Storrs, Connecticut, it's Clark O'Clock. That young lady going to rush out of here with her family, no doubt, to watch Caitlin at 3 Eastern time. And this year, all-time leading scorer, passing Kelsey Plum. First team All-American, no matter what the team is. And going to that national championship, got in there against LSU last year. Right now, they're not one of the favorites to get there. UConn, actually, according to ESPN Analytics, is second to South Carolina with the best chance of winning the title. And we asked Gino about that yesterday, and making this a PG version, he said he doesn't believe in analytics.
He did say
yes.
a bit something a little more heavy than that, but that's the gist of it. But, well, Iowa, they have an opportunity with the last season for Caitlin Clark in an Iowa Hawkeye uniform to get it done.
Yeah, but she was not going to use her last year of eligibility. Bueckers thought she was fouled. Instead, she scored again. And that's what we were talking about with the analytics. Even as a 3 seed, right, UConn is considered the second most likely to win behind South Carolina, who has not lost a game this year. And then you see Iowa partly just 6%.
Right, and the way you've seen Caitlin Clark galvanize the game, and not just women's basketball, but the game of basketball in general, has just been phenomenal to watch, with her humility involved in that as well. She understands her assignment.
Travel on Edwards, who hit the floor after a rebound. How about Tim McCraw?
Yeah.
Tim McCraw doing a concert in Iowa, and he wore a Caitlin Clark jersey.
Yes, he did.
Love it.
The whole time, and this is the respectability across like music, entertainment, sports, basketball, football, everything. We've just seen everything collectively coming together for the greater good.
You get to see Caitlin in Iowa and Holy Cross coming up at the top of the hour, so stay right here with us on ABC. Aaliyah Edwards, 16 points and 10 rebounds. Yet another day at the office for her 17th double-double of the season. Coming back, first game in 2 weeks. Broke her nose 2 weeks ago today in the Big East tournament against Providence.
Right, missed the last couple of games, but she's worn the mask before. You know, I would have concern if this is the first time that Aaliyah Edwards has had to wear a mask, but it's not. She's used to it. She's have to pop it back on.
Certainly hasn't seemed to bother her today. Bueckers with great hustle, but couldn't save it into a teammate. That's a double dribble. She put her hand on the ball. Ball goes back over.
Looked like Breland thought that Avent was going to take that back cut, and Avent stopped the cut, so she picked up the basketball.
That's thrown high and not to a player really on the court. And there's Gino.
Well, that's the last place you want to throw the ball away. We'll do better. On to the next play, but that face.
And Rebecca Lobo's in the studio today, and I'm sure she knows that face well.
You just don't look over there. I'm sure she doesn't, but she might not, because she might not look over there.
Maybe just on replay. Jackson hits the bucket. Jackson now into double figures.
2-2-1. Jackson State, they've just been trying every kind of thing on the defensive end. Trying to slow down UConn. Motion offense.
That is just picture perfect.
It's like a well-oiled machine, right? You talk about the 6 injured players for UConn and all of these sap things. But when it comes down to it, who's out here and how are you going to perform? And they have just been executing to perfection with great timing and cadence on the offensive end, reading and reacting off of one another depending upon how the defense is playing.
It's always interesting and fun to go to a UConn practice, fun to watch it. I'm sure maybe not necessarily to be in the practice, to see the precision and the repetition, and then you just see it translate on the court. Edwards again.
Nice soft touch once again from that elbow area for Aaliyah Edwards, and it's just tough to stop that, but you have to rotate on the pass. If you're going to be in this zone, matchup kind of defense, you got to be ready.
Here comes Paige. Hitting the stick. Paige Bueckers. 3 UConn Huskies have at least 20 points in this game. They're up 80-52.
UConn having their way here in Stores. In the passing lanes once again is Paige Bueckers laying one in.
NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Some action from yesterday. Middle Tennessee State with the upset win over Louisville. Virginia Tech able to win without Elizabeth Kitley convincingly, and Iowa State trailed by 20 to Maryland. And Audie Crooks was pivotal in that comeback. Check out this line. She's a true freshman, not just 40 points, she only missed 2 shots.
That's insane. I mean, 18 of 20 to go along with her 12 boards. She was just a menace down inside, especially in that second half when you saw them just flip the script and get the dub.
Barbara Kennedy at Clemson at 43 in her debut, and that has been broken by Audie.
Just a freshman, 18 of 20. Can you even fathom that?
No. They will play Stanford next. Iowa playing out there in Palo Alto. They will play them tomorrow. Jackson, nice move on the baseline to draw a foul from Edwards. That's 4 on Aaliyah. Jackson heading to the free throw line. Back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year in the league, 4th in the nation in block shots. She had 95 coming into this this game as Edwards gets a well-deserved ovation. So she's got 97 right now. We're going to check out today's game track brought to you by Invesco QQQ. There's your game track. UConn, as you might expect, up in all the positive categories in this game. 3 players, Edwards, Bueckers, and Shade, have at least 20 points.
So UConn with 21 assists on 31 made shots, and that has been the story. That and paint points. 26 to 14 advantage for the Huskies.
Shot clock winding down for Mule. They need a shot, they get it. Contact, but no foul after Arnold was able to get off a last-second shot. Crump can't get it. That's definitely an over-the-back call on Jalea Hickman.
Really like how Angel Jackson was trying to set that drag screen in transition for Maya Crump. Just couldn't pay it off with a made shot, but we like the actions that are occurring here for Jackson State.
Jackson State, this is a good basketball team. They absolutely ran the table in the SWAC regular season unbeaten and won the tournament. And they did it with style. A lot of grads on this team who are playing their last collegiate game, unless there's a miracle comeback. Shot clock again at 5. Bueckers threw the foul with 2 seconds left on the clock.
Well, it's been a journey for Jackson State, and you know, I just love how Tamika Reed has been able to bring out the best in each of her players, and not necessarily tactically all the time, because we've seen the excellence. They're going 18-0, but to bring out the best of them as young people who can make a mark and whatever they're passionate about. If it's hoops, then so be it. But if it's something else, then they have the tools necessary that have been ingrained over these years under her tutelage on and off the floor.
Which is really what the job should be about. Her 11-year-old son, Carlin, is here as well, travels with her. Great family atmosphere that she has done now just in her 6th year. And they, in their preparation for coming into the tournament, this is in a row now. 7 straight games: St. John's, Kansas State, Oregon State, Mississippi State, Miami, and Texas, all in a row back in late November and early December, and they beat St. John's.
Yeah, they beat them in Puerto Rico in November. So, I mean, this is a well-tooled program in terms of experience under their belt.
Taking on UConn, everyone knew this would be a tough out for them. UConn with just 5 losses this year, all of them to ranked teams. Last loss was to South Carolina back on February 11th.
And Dawn Staley has given Tamika Reed so much credit and love and respect as well. I mean, Tamika Reed lost her mom 5 or 6 years ago, and then lost her brother, and then right after she got the job as head coach at Georgia State, her dad was at the presser and was so proud of her, and he passed away 3 months later. So she has had some turmoil, but has been stronger because of it.
Shade, back rim, Bueckers rescues. Isley takes it out. Bueckers with a double-double, 28 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. So we've got star power galore on ABC. We got Paige Bueckers here. Boy, Bowler's a good basketball player, knocking down the 3. When this is over, Caitlin Clark, all-time scoring leader. Iowa takes on Holy Cross here on ABC.
And I've covered Caitlin Clark since she was a freshman, and she has had the same temperament from day one that she has right now in the postseason. in Iowa City. I mean, she has just been a phenomenon and tough to stop. In her freshman year, I think she averaged 27 a game. This year, averaging 32 points per game. Always drawing the top defenders from opponents, and it doesn't matter. I mean, she just slides to the left and pulls logo threes at ease.
We have Caitlin coming up. UConn will play the winner of Arizona-Syracuse. We'll have that on ESPN2. KK Arnold heads to the bench. 2 points, 4 rebounds, a couple of assists today for the true freshman from Wisconsin.
I love her game. She just brings so much sturdiness to the perimeter.
Bowler putting on a show. It is most likely her last collegiate game. She's got 22.
No regrets, just lay it on the line. Why not?
Six grad students are on this team for Jackson State, including Bowler. Shot clock again into single digits. Shade knocks it down, continuing on her career day scoring-wise. She's got 26. Bowler elevates.
Oh my goodness. Ashlynn Shade has just been phenomenal for UConn, the freshman. You see her right there, number 12.
And Maya Crump is just fouled out of the game, gets a nice hug from her head coach, Tamika Reed. Paige Bueckers out of the game, does so with 28 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, and no turnovers. And there's Maya Crump, who has seen her collegiate career come to a close this afternoon. But what a career she has had, part of this Jackson State program that has ascended as the powerhouse in the SWAC.
Yeah, she had that hand injury last year, and you just see the emotion on the face, because you don't set your mind up to lose. You don't set your mind up for it to be over if you're a staunch competitor, and you see that.
Let's take a look at today's Capital One rewarding performance. Had a lot of them from UConn players, but Bueckers did it on both sides of the ball.
Well, Paige Bueckers, she is just dynamic with her skill set and what she has the ability to do. Aaliyah Edwards as well. I mean, just solid performances by both on both sides of the floor. But it's Ashlynn Shade for me. She has been phenomenal with her consistent play and her bold aggression in terms of her shot selection and ability to execute on the offensive end.
It's been the big three, Bueckers and Edwards, and then the true freshman Shade combining for 74 of their 86 points this afternoon. And remember, Bueckers did not play at all last year. Tore her ACL, had a pickup game in August right before the season got underway.
I mean, you could just see this moment for her bubbling over all season last year. She was just waiting for the opportunity to get back on the floor. I mean, we've seen videos and pictures of Paige Bueckers as a young girl just in love with the game immensely. And when you love the game that much, you fight for it with all you have.
Ice Brady with the block. Shot missed by Betancourt. Everybody was ready to scream for her. Only averages about 5.5 minutes per game. A good save. Hustle play by Haley Breland. She's a sophomore. She'll be back next year for the Tigers. And again, we remind you, coming up next, as soon as we're done, we'll get you to Iowa City. Nika Mule playing her second to the last game here at Campbell. She has 1 year of eligibility left, but has announced that she's not coming back. Jackson had a nice move to get to the bucket, but couldn't finish. But will get to shoot free throws. Nika Mule is one of Gino Auriemma's all-time favorite players. You look at her numbers, they're not eye-popping. The most points she's ever scored in a game, 19 in her freshman year in Creighton, but she does so much more. And you talked about the 10 criteria of Gino, and she does so many things well. And I'm sure he's going to miss her next year, her leadership, 7th in the nation in assists this year as well.
Yeah, she's a table setter and an organizer, and you have to have more than one of those on the floor. Gino Auriemma, he told us, he said, hey, Paige can't be the only one making shots for us. We need everybody. It's got to be a collective effort. And I bet Nika Mule is looking at her assist numbers. What did I have? How did I set the team up? She's not looking for her points, which is refreshing.
Chris Daly, and with the score, the box score, and Paige Bueckers is also very interested in that. Mule 7 points, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds. We will see her on Monday against the winner of our second game between Arizona and Syracuse. That's going to be fun. Anytime Krista Fair, Deasia Fair, who has scored, only 4 players have scored more points than her in women's basketball. And a lot of great players on that Arizona team, that like Elena Puello, who was so terrific in the 4th quarter, and their win against Auburn. And Jada Williams, that little freshman point guard, man. She's dynamic.
Circle her name, because she is one to know as well. So many fantastic freshmen across the board in women's basketball this year. Just come in with no fear, ready to attack you.
Brady, nope. Jackson State hustling all the way, could not save the possession. Jackson State will conclude their season 26-7. 18-0 in the SWAC. We are inside a minute. That was a travel by Shade.
Shade came off that curl screen there.
Jackson State got an early 4-2 lead, then UConn went on a 17-0 run, and it has been all UConn since then. Rebound by Arnold, who's going to slow things down. And the fans all start to stand here at Gamble in appreciation of yet another first-round win for the Huskies.
And birthday buckets all around for the Huskies on Gino Auriemma's birthday.
Samuels with the miss. Now Jackson State bringing it up. Bowler, boy, what a game she has had. A senior from Meridian, Mississippi with 25, but not enough. The UConn Huskies, 28 from Bueckers, 26 from Shade, a career high, and 20 points, 10 rebounds from Edwards. Much respect. Coach Reed says he was really looking forward to coaching against Auriemma, and UConn takes it, 86-64.
Well, they got the job done. They sustained their excellence and efficiency in the entire game, and they impacted the defensive side of the floor as well.